Hello, everybody. Wait. Hello, everybody. T.man here. Today I'm going to react to Johnny versus Enter the Matrix. So, let's watch.
Greetings, welcome back. I must apologize for the wait, I've been a little preoccupied. No, on a serious note, I hate this time of the year, planning for cons, PAX season, MomoCon, too many games, not to mention it's tax season, that's always... Today I continue the Donators Marathon with another licensed property. Those seem to be quite popular in these parts. Enter the Matrix, originally one of the most expensive games ever produced. Created and released in conjunction. The story was penned by the Wachowskis, the very same who created the movies, making Enter the Matrix feel that more integral to the complete Matrix experience. Did you know I received 2 copies of this game from 2 different fans? If I look at the GameCube version, the story ends, you wake up in your bed and you believe what you want to believe. If I look at the PlayStation 2 version, you stay in Wonderland and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Very well. Well, looks like we're staying in Wonderland. Now, but getting serious here, I was a pretty big Matrix fan back in the day. I remember catching it one night with my uncle, and I couldn't take my eyes off the TV. Granted, I was only around 12 years old at the time, so it wasn't the philosophical commentary or the religious subtext that got me hooked. I thought the film looked great. It had a lot of great action, and personally, I was already a big fan of Keanu Reeves at this time because of Bill and Ted, and unironically, Johnny Mnemonic.
I want room service! I want the club sandwich. I want the cold Mexican beer. I want a $10,000 a night hooker.
Even if you never saw The Matrix, you couldn't escape how popular it was. Over and over again, it was parodied, referenced, and mocked. It was, for a time, the next big sci-fi experience, and this was around when Star Wars was back on the scene with the upcoming prequel films. A couple of years later, it got 2 sequels, The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions, but before these, an animated tie-in was created for home video called The Animatrix, a collection of animated shorts that expanded the universe and shed some light on some of the more intricate details. One of the shorts, titled The Final Flight of the Osiris, would serve as the foundation of Enter the Matrix, which ties the events of that short to the events of The Matrix Reloaded. And it should go without saying, but if you're not familiar with The Matrix, Animatrix, or The Matrix Reloaded in any capacity, I would not even bother with this one. It assumes you watch the movies. A safe assumption if you even consider picking this up, but for newcomers, you're better off taking that blue pill. Enter the Matrix centers on the crew of the Logos, led by Niobe, played by Jada Pinkett Smith, and Ghost, played by Anthony Wong. And if you're expecting any playtime with Morpheus, Trinity, or Keanu Reeves, don't get too excited because they're relegated to cameos. This is a side story when all's said and done, so we gotta focus on those side characters. Niobe and Ghost head inside the Matrix to retrieve a package containing the final recorded log of the Osiris, in which the now deceased crew warn the people of Zion that the machines plan on drilling through the defenses and threaten to wipe out Zion in its entirety. And really, the rest of Enter the Matrix can be summed up as Niobe and Ghost running away from a lot of shit. Whether it's from a shitload of police, the dreaded agents, or werewolves, yes, I know what I said, it's a game of survival. As a tie-in to the movies, Enter the Matrix's main purpose is to simply clarify on a few things from the movies and hype you up for Matrix Revolutions without being very interesting on its own accords. Like, no shit, there's no ending to this game. It just shows a trailer for the 3rd movie. Again, most of its substance hinges on you watching the movies for context, but this only does so much because not much happens in the story as a whole. The live-action cutscenes are a neat bonus, as indifferent as I am to the sequels. It really does feel like I'm getting more of the story with the same production values as the films. We get some nice action, some intense shots, douchebags wearing sunglasses at night. Sometimes they cheap out and simply show us scenes directly from The Matrix Reloaded, but most of it is completely new, so in a way, these are a nice little reward for progressing through the game. It's not enough of a reward if you ask me, because by the one, this game fucking blows. Let's start with its looks. Things are fine when we're treated with the live-action cutscene. They're properly lit, but bleak enough to emphasize the simulated nature of the Matrix. In-game cutscenes are complete and utter shit, even for this generation. This game is so fucking dark, with inadequate lighting, muddy textures. Seriously, it's hard to see a lot of shit in this game. I had to turn the lights off in my living room while recording this, just to see things properly. And I wanted to chalk this up from the condition of the disc, but I ran into a couple of audio glitches and oddities. Maybe it's the machines trying to fuck with my perception of reality. Music and sound effects would often not loop properly or stutter or just randomly cut off. Check this scene out when I have to get ready to shoot out a plane's tires. Like, I don't know, that just doesn't sound right. It's like something's deliberately missing there. What the hell? That was shaving a haircut. Alright, this game is fucking with me. It has to be. The budget was clearly spent on the live action stuff, with the rest of the game unfortunately suffering. It's not pretty to look at, and I think it's awkward every time you finish a segment and the game suddenly cuts to the save screen with no graphical finesse or feeling of accomplishment. At least most of the music is sampled from the film's soundtrack and score, so we get that awesome piece that plays during the car chase on the freeway, and whenever there's an intense shootout, we get some sweet rave techno that complements the scenario well. But this only does so much to alleviate what's otherwise a complete mess of a game here if we're going to get into the main aspects here. God damn. So when the adventure begins, you can choose as either Ghost or Niobe. Bearing a couple of different scenarios, I assume they play through most of the same stages. I'm assuming, of course, because I only had enough patience to play and beat the game as Ghost. I only played about 2 hours with Niobe, and it was almost 1-to-1 the same as Ghost's playthrough. The game is only about 7 to 8 hours long, but it felt a lot longer than that. Besides, Ghost is kind of a forgotten character in The Matrix Reloaded if memory serves me correctly, so I think it's only fair this playthrough focuses on him. Okay, wait a minute, that's not his running animation, is it? What the hell is this? This is the kind of shit you see in a Source Filmmaker parody. Oh man, but let's talk about these controls. Get this, you cannot individually control shots will miss without using this focus mechanic. When you use focus, you enter bullet time where things slow down tremendously. This gives you much better accuracy, so it's clear they want you to use this at every opportunity you get. And admittedly, on the rare occasion I get to dive through the air or bounce off of a wall to kick someone in the face, it's a cool thing to see. But focus doesn't last forever and only slowly regenerates when you got some downtime. So I either just try to ignore enemies because I'd rather not bother wasting ammo given how piss poor my aim is, or I wait until I get my focus back before I head into the next gauntlet, which destroys the overall pace. Both characters are capable of close-range martial arts, and this can get the job done in a pinch, but trying to take down all the moves they throw at you with nothing but punches and kicks can make the level drag on. I don't like how the camera refuses to move on if I get into a scuffle and I just want to try and make a getaway. Look at this shit, I look like a paranoid coke addict. Now, as you continue on, the game will slowly enlighten you on techniques you can pull off to make things more interesting, and that's kind of bizarre to me. Like, I know there's such thing as slowly loading the player with information, but I definitely could have used some of these techniques earlier if I knew about them. Oh hey, something like this silent takedown. Okay, then I can get all Batman up in here. Using stealth to my advantage so I can avoid an overly long encounter sounds good to me. I just gotta make sure I'm super quiet to sneak up on these guys. So here's the gist of things. As either character, you're given an objective to complete, which usually involves getting to a set destination and watching the plot unfold. What this really means is that you'll be spending a lot of time just wandering around until the hint prompt shows up and waiting for your GPS arrow to show you where you need to go next. Because of the bleak and overly dark level design, combined with poor conveyance and no manual camera, it's hard to distinguish where you can and can't go, and you'll likely fall off rooftops or some other shit. This is basically the whole game right here. Running around, fighting security guards, police officers, SWAT team. Near the end game, you can fight some werewolves and jam wooden stakes into their chests because the sequels were fucking weird at times. But yeah, this is really all there is to the game. Needless to say, it wears thin pretty fast, and close to the end you start throwing so many of these guys at you at once, you can only handle so many bad guys at a given time. And while you do have regenerating health, the later goons can easily pump you full of lead from a hidden corner. Once in a while, you'll find yourself in a car section instead, and holy shit. Period because of unreliable hit detection. When you're playing as Ghost for most of these, all you have to do is aim and shoot at shit, which is about as mindless as it sounds. You're literally just shooting at cars until they blow up, even against those twins from the second movie. I was having a hard time with these guys at first because it seemed random on whether or not I could damage them. I think you're supposed to shoot the cars around them and then stall them out. Either way, I got so fed up with this that out of morbid curiosity, I turned away from them and shot the cars in front of me because fuck it, nothing else is working, let's roll that dice. But guess what? This ended up working. Apparently the twins don't exist when you're not looking at them, and I cleared the boss fight just fine after doing this. What the fuck is this game? As for other boss fights, you like helicopters? Good, you fight 2 of these early on, so there's some visual variety for you. The second fight is a goddamn crapshoot because you can only attack it while it's shooting at you. One-on-one encounter with Carrie-Anne Moss, a fight to the death with Stephen King's Cujo, you get your ass kicked by the Seraph. I thought agents would be a bigger part of this game, and a couple of times you run into one, but you're heavily encouraged to just run away from it. In the movies, this made sense, but I don't know, in a video game, I would have preferred a more hands-on approach. Well, there was that one time in the control tower, but one grenade later and he's down like a bitch.
Damn.
Woo, this game's a mile a minute. The final boss, I shit you not, is this tiny-ass tracker that's chasing you when you're fleeing from the Sentinels. It doesn't fight back, and it's the only thing you have to shoot down, but take a look at this. Can you even fucking see what I'm shooting at? Okay, then I shot the little thing down and got my live action trailer of the third movie, so I guess that's some sort of reward. And now I get this special code to use this hacking screen. Now, for as much as I thought this game was laughably clumsy, using the hacking menu to enable bonuses and cheat codes was honestly cool. It's like you're actually using a command prompt from a DOS computer, so you have to type in command lines and run executables to activate shit like infinite ammo and infinite focus. It's not much, but charming nonetheless. Now that might be the only way you can make this game somewhat playable. Just activate these codes and go ape shit with guns, and watch as your auto aims still fucking suck. Yeah, this is a waste of time. The only reason you would ever play this game before was to watch that exclusive footage and get more out of the whole story, but guess what? These cutscenes are now included in the Ultimate Matrix Collection Blu-ray, meaning there is literally no reason to play this now. It's a dark, clunky mess of a game, there's not much to it mechanically, and it has been done better before. Ever play Max Payne? You're probably better off playing that instead. I never touched it personally, but I heard good things about it. And now you know the truth. Whether you're living in a virtual world or having a sweet rave in an underground orgy cave, Enter the Matrix will fail to captivate you in a way that no simulation cannot already accomplish. Indeed, Enter the Matrix will make you think it's like...
Concurrently, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
When in reality, it's more like...
Ergo! Vis-a-vis! Concordantly!
Well then, until we meet again, remember to free your mind. That or you could just wait until Path of Neo. I hear some things about that. Just a few things.
Okay, anyway, see you guys in the next video.